Hi everyone, it's Patrick here. Welcome back. I have some great news. The marvelous folks at Proco.com have done it again with 20% off all downloadable products through November. So go along there and find all my instructional videos and downloadable books. Learn how to draw like a wizard. Now let's take a look. Here is my storefront. And you can see all the great stuff that's in here. Mature content just basically means that there's nude reference in there. Nothing salacious, all very tasteful. So worry not about that. It's just for the sensitive eyes of some. We can't draw the figure without knowing how the figure looks, of course. This is probably the best place to start. The Anatomy of Style 1, my best-selling book, and then The Anatomy of Style 2, which has got a great foreword by the mighty Stan. Thank you, Stan. And in between or after, it matters not. Figures from Life. Figures from Life is actually my favorite of those books. And then there's The Lion Eye, which is more advanced, which goes along actually nicely with how to draw the fantasy female figure. Where do we start with movies? The Fantasy Figure Drawing Wizardry course is a great start. Let's have a look in there. So if you're just beginning and you want to become a wizard at this stuff, this is a great start. You can see there's a lot of content in there, 19 hours and 20 minutes. And you'll get a preview of how it all comes together in there. The folks at Proco are just so great at putting all this information together so you know what you're getting. 19 hours of 20 minutes, 21 lessons. So there's the benefits, the step-by-step process. Thanks everyone for these fantastic reviews. I really appreciate them. So former students in there. And that's your fantasy figure drawing, wizardry. Take 20% off. Now, where would I go after this if I was a very structured person? I like to just jump in anywhere. That feels like fun to me, to be honest. Now, if you want a very simple collection of all the Anatomy of Style study drawings. So basically they're blurred out there for sensitive eyes. So these study sheets are peppered all the way through the drawing books. And here they are in one collected book that you can take with you to Life Draw class. And it's a great benefit. It was often asked for, just the study sheets. Well, there they are. And a really great deal. So that's for your iPad or whatever you take to the Life Draw with you. Now, fantasy figure drawing. Start there. Now, the power of osmosis was conceived to bridge between here, fantasy figure drawing wizardry, and how to draw the fantasy female figure. So the fantasy female figure is the most advanced. So if you love render, that's the place to be. So the power of osmosis is invaluable to keep your skills up. It bridges those gaps. There's 15 hours in there, incredible amount of stuff. And with all of these, I eventually do some kind of finish anyhow, but not as finished, of course, as the fantasy female figures. So here's all of the potions. Potion 1, Shapes and Rhythms. And it just is such a wonderful course. I really loved making this course. And we will end up with a rendered figure. When I say rendered, I mean to the finish that I like to leave, that still has all the fluidity of the drawing in there. Remember, it's a drawing. And so I'm not teaching how to become photorealistic. I'm teaching how to find your own style. And the style is in the pencil and the tone. And it's all in there in that movement. So I'm all about movement. Now, how to draw fantasy female figures. If you love render, then you come to the right place. There it is there. Okay, so these drawings are for advanced students. It doesn't mean you can't go in there and learn something straight off the bat. I'll take you through basically the very simple ideas of how to start making marks. I'll take you through all of the anatomy that you need to know. The previous movies are a simpler idea of all that. So this is where you go when you want to really understand render and how to finish a drawing with your style in it. I'm all about style. I'm all about fantasy. So 1, fantasy figure drawing wizardry. 2, the power of osmosis. 3, how to draw the fantasy female figure. Now, in between all of that, I mean, you guys might like to take it even further and go into oil painting. This is a book with all my fantasy art in it. It's a great read, a fantastic foreword by Donato Giancola. I hope it's inspirational. It has all my art in it over a 10-year period, 176 pages, and great in-depth into how and why I painted each picture, and the preliminaries as well, of course, and work I've done for collectors and how to work with collectors, all of that stuff. Thanks, Jim. Just saw Jim there. Jim Burns. What a fantastic inspiration he was to me in my youth, and still is today. Now we have sci-fi and fantasy oil painting. That was my first book, and all the techniques are in there on how to paint, how to use photographs, all of that business. Okay, don't be intimidated by oils. They're actually, I think, the easiest medium to use. And of course, they demand the big bucks as well. They've got such a rich history. Then you can go on to sci-fi and fantasy oil painting masterclass that takes you even further into it. You know, these paintings are gigantic. That painting is huge. And I'll take you through how I work in glazes and layers, old master style techniques. And for you guys that like to draw cartoons, there's nothing more valuable than drawing cartoons. So I teach animation at the university here, how to draw for animation. And this is a great way to learn how to draw the figure. If you can't draw the figure, drawing cartoons is actually harder than you would imagine. And once you know how to draw the figure with fluidity, then drawing cartoons with fluidity is even easier. And you can boil that right down to the absolute basics and get wonderful stuff. So here I create an entire cast of characters to people a story, teach you how to world build, how to create characters, how to find the emotion behind them. And all my movies are in real time, so nothing's sped up. You'll see everything that you need to see, follow along, pause, rewind, all that stuff. It's fantastic. Okay, so I people a whole cast in here, zombie, town folk. And it's great fun building worlds. And there's a whole story in there, character development, character expressions, character turnaround. Everything you need for an introduction into how to draw for animation. If you're going to university to learn that, that's a great beginning. I hope you enjoyed that preview. There's never been a better time to go there and download all those wonders and join me from apprentice to wizard and all the stuff in between and become the masters of this pencil and paper. We can do it. Join me on your art adventures and let's see the wonders that unfold with every pencil stroke. Good luck.